Right across the box, it's a big chance.
Great play by the Navy there, fantastic football.
And it's a goal! The Army have an all-important second goal.
Full time in this match, thrilling stuff, especially in the second half.
One game plan, and it's paid off.
Welcome everyone then to Croud Meadow in Shrewsbury. I'm Carl Dixon for the opening match of the 2026 Inter-Services Football Championship. The RAF hosting the Royal Navy, and in typical Air Force fashion we get started with a very special ball delivery here in Shrewsbury as the match ball is being delivered in by helicopter, the Juno helicopter from the #1 Flying Training School based at RAF Shrewsbury. Just on its way down to the pitch, we can hear the wings, we can hear it coming, and the players will be getting ready in the dressing room, hearing this helicopter make its way onto the pitch too. And in typical Air Force fashion, this is a tradition every year really for Inter-Services football to start in the most blustery way, and just let you hear the sounds of the helicopter. Bump on the landing then as the match ball comes straight from RAF Shrewsbury. The team in the helicopter taking time out of a busy schedule. They're currently doing night flying training, but why not, when you can, add a little bit of decorum to the start of this. The helicopter then looks to leave the field without too much damage as well, so the players will be pleased with that. On its way back to RAF Shrewsbury, and I was speaking to a photographer sent here from RAF Shrewsbury earlier today. They're excited as usual to be part of this. The fans, a lot of children in attendance in the stands here at Shrewsbury, waving away as the helicopter leaves the venue then a flying start to the broadcast, but who will make a flying start to the tournament? The RAF will certainly hope it's them as the home team, but the Navy have had their number over the past few years, as evidenced by the 2025 tournament that, I'll be quite honest, you had no idea what to expect. Let's take a look. A sliding tackle by Shuttleworth will just hold the RAF up for a second, but not for long. And it is Michael Campbell again. And a bit of space for Ryan Fagan. Taking on Phil Bright. And Ryan Fagan will get a shot away. Oh, it's a brilliant goal. I'm not sure if it took a deflection or not, but it absolutely bamboozled Ben Binns. A chance for Jack Wright. And we said, could they punish them? And the Navy do. Chance though, Jake Walker for the Royal Navy. Woolley. Oh, it's brilliant from Sean Woolley. It's a brilliant goal from the number 11, and the Army have an all-important second goal. Creamer got there, by the way, and that's got to be 3-0 to the Army. It is time to paint it red. Congratulations to the Army then, Inter-Services champions for 2025, and they will enjoy this. It's been a long time coming. So a brilliant tournament in 2025, a red letter day for military football, but will the RAF or the Navy add some blue in 2026, and what shade will it be? We were about to take a first step to finding that out. Let's take a look at the two teams as we wait for the players to join us here in Shrewsbury, starting with the RAF. And the big news really is the man leading the line, Michael Campbell. 10 years of inter-services football for Michael Campbell. That is experience. At the same time, they do have some youth coming through. Matt Laycock is in between the sticks. He kept 2 clean sheets for the under-23s in this year's tournament, as did the centre-back Ryan Mulligan. He starts straight up from the under-23s. He impressed in that tournament. Of course, people like Joe Spalding and Michael Goddard, Josh Randall all provide a goal threat as the RAF look to kick off 2026 with a win. The Royal Navy then are very happy to see some returns. In comes Elliot Holmes after missing 2025. He was the match winner against the Army and the Navy 2 years ago. Dan Kerr starts, David Vincent starts, Jake Walker starts, Jack McCormack, and Mark Drysdale adds the experience at the back. This is a Royal Navy team filled with UCAF footballing superstars, and it's a very, very strong one too. We're just waiting for the two sets of players to make their way out, and it's going to be a really nice moment at the front of the Royal Navy team lineup. Dan Kerr, the captain, will lead them out alongside his 2 twin boys, 8-year-olds, for the first time getting to enter the field with their dad. Albie and Frankie leading the Royal Navy out in white. The RAF will be in their blue. A nice moment then for the twins, the Kerr twins, and of course for Danny Kerr, who is, let's be fair, a Royal Navy and UK Armed Forces footballing legend at this point with what he's done with the two teams. We're expecting the VIPs to go across the line, giving me the best chance to inform you that we are expecting a co-commentator tonight from Andy Kuchta, the former RAF senior head coach. He is stuck in the Shrewsbury traffic. He's on his way. You won't have to just listen to me, don't worry.
2, Ronnie Gray. 3, Phil Bright. Number 4, Aaron Hyatt. Number 5, Ryan Mulligan.
So these two teams then are the challengers in 2026. The Army had an incredible 25 tournament, built by a point a year ago here in Shrewsbury, and it's important really to note that nobody wants to lose the opening game. The Navy, of course, did beat the RAF by 3-0 in Fratton Park, Portsmouth last year, and the RAF team, after that game, we saw the RAF team come out ahead of us as we were packing away our equipment, and I've never seen an RAF team that quiet. They will certainly look to put that right today. But speaking to Michael Campbell earlier, he said they've put it behind them already. It's about focusing on the future, and we've seen that with some of the team selections. Phil Bright starts as well for the RAF. You know, with his left foot, he will be a real threat. Aaron Hyatt in midfield, classy centre midfielder really, and is a centre midfield partner for UCAF, usually, alongside Dan Kerr and Davy Vincent, so they know all about these players. At senior inter-services level, there's no hiding place really. The national anthem then, expertly done as usual in these inter-services and UK Armed Forces sporting events. The RAF run down the line, and they will be keen to make home advantage count. The RAF have had a pretty good record at Shrewsbury over the years, but the last few have just not gone their way. It was 2 years ago here that the Royal Navy sealed an inter-services championship for the first time in a number of years. Elliot Holmes at the back post, heading home in a memorable moment for the senior service. A year ago, the RAF got a point against the Army, but really felt they should have beat them. And of course, that draw led to an Army inter-services win after they beat the Navy in Uxbridge. And a real nice moment, as we mentioned then, for the Kerr twins. I can see Helen Richardson making sure there's a picture to remember it, as the Army officials get ready to bring us underway. 2026 has already seen a cracking inter-services at under 23 level, where the Army retained the championship, but it was a close run thing. The RAF certainly could have won it in Oswestry. They didn't get the job done, the Army did. Senior level though, something different about it. The man on your picture just walking away, number 10 for the Royal Navy, is Jake Walker, ex-Aston Villa. Certainly has footballing pedigree. Started in an FA Cup fixture for Aston Villa against Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. I'm just mentioning it. Anybody who knows me knows I'm just mentioning it. If you're watching along on YouTube or on Facebook, please do get involved. Let us know where you're watching from, where in the world you will be watching this inter-services football opener. Two experienced captains for both teams, two men who know each other very well, have been on a number of UCAF tours together, and certainly when all will be said and done will be considered two of the best UK Armed Forces footballers we've had. Not that Michael Campbell's old, I should say this because he's already given me stick this evening. 35 years at young is the right way to say it. Tom Richardson's watching along, the under-23 RAF manager. All the very best to Hammy and the lads today. Brilliant to see Ryan and Matty starting tonight, absolutely. Kat Beaver, the RAF women's captain, is also watching along, supporting the Air Force from Lincoln. We'll be watching their tournament opener live tomorrow night from Lincoln as they look to defend their championship for yet another year. Nate Barber's watching along on YouTube too, and some more comments for supporting the referee. Actually, big shout out to Big Brian Russell, the referee for today. We're hoping he, in the nicest possible way, will not be in the headlines. It's all about the players and the talent that they've got. As we're about to get underway then, Jake Walker for the Navy. On a Shrewsbury Town pitch here at Croud Meadow that has been made shorter this year, by the way. We had some debates about it pre-match, but it is definitely shorter. Not sure whether that'll help either team. We're about to find out, I guess. So who will win the 2026 Inter-Services Senior Men's Championship? The Navy get us underway. Here is working it along the back all the way across to Henry Phillips. And the experienced of Mark Drysdale. Alongside him at the back is Jack McCormack, who scored the winner against the Army at Fratton Park 2 years ago. That's a good ball forward by Drysdale, headed away by Brodie Gray. And now Joe Spalding looking for Campbell. He flicked it on, cleared by McCormack. And now Jake Walker seems to be playing in the 10, Jake Walker, with a number on his back. That does make sense, but it's a slight difference from last year. He was a goal scorer in that 3-0 win against the RAF, and he sealed the win in a lot of ways. Elliot Holmes there, fouled by Brodie Gray. That's going to be a real key battle tonight. Holmes versus Gray, UCAF teammates. I think the RAF were not quite expecting Elliot Holmes to play due to, of course, work commitments, but he is here today, so that's a surprise for the RAF to deal with. Now McCormack again. Here's Danny Kerr, pressed well by Goddard. Kerr wanted a free kick, didn't get it, and Navy play on. Spread wide once again and inside to McCormack. The Navy having more of the ball in the opening few minutes here. Here's Drysdale. Chance for the Navy to come forward then maybe, but it's bounced out of play. And I mentioned at the start that the pitch is smaller. Sean Powell finding that out firsthand. Leading the line for the Navy tonight is Ollie Ward, the number 9 on his back. A lot expected of him, and here he is on the ball now. Strong challenge in there though. And Aaron Ayotte will mop up for the Navy. Good press by Dan Kerr, and the Navy win it back with Walker. Chance now. Good pace shown by Gaz Hurd. Goes back to Phillips, and the Navy will restart. Davy Vincent getting a touch in the midfield. McCormack sends it forward, headed away by Phil Bright. It was a very good, strong challenge in there by Reece Harbottle, who's sitting in the centre of the midfield for the RAF alongside Ayotte. He's back after lengthy injury delays. Now McCormack, the Navy trying to work from the back. The RAF happy for them to have it in these positions early on. And Danny Kerr coming short to try and make something happen. Here's McCormack again. Lofted forward towards Henry Phillips, but he's not going to be kept in. RAF throw. Bright with the throw, then flicked on by Goddard. McCormack's up there for the Navy. That's given away though by Vincent. And Brodie Gray looks to bring it forward for the RAF. Now Joe Spalding taking on Powell. Looking for options inside Joe Spalding. And Aaron Hyatt now as the RAF look to build their first attack of the evening. But the Navy press is diligent. Pull forward towards Campbell against Mark Drysdale, and Campbell will fancy his chances, but it's brilliant defending by Mark Drysdale. That is all the experience. Now Holmes. The Navy having more of the ball in these opening few minutes, but the RAF are quite happy for them to have it in these positions. Goddard and Campbell leading the defensive work from the front. Dan Kerr then looking for Gaz Hurd, who's potentially won the head. I think there might have been a clash, and I think we might have a stoppage here for Gaz Hurd to receive some treatment. It will be a Navy throw when we come back. This is just match day 1 of the tournament, of course. We actually have a week break for the first time in a few years in this tournament next week before we come back down in Aldershot for the Army versus the RAF on March the 18th. Here's Danny Kerr with the chest control. That'll go out of play. Kerr wanted a push in the back, I think, from Hyatt, but once again the referee says let's play on. Bright's throw flicked on by Goddard. That'll go away for another throw, this time to the Navy. And well, that was a long way from where the ball bounced out, but the Navy will get on with it. McCormack. Commentators delight at the back for the Royal Navy tonight. McCormack at centre back, McCormick in goal. Here is Jack McCormack. Jake Walker coming short. Looking for options, Walker. He'll go all the way back to Drysdale. Holmes and Danny Kerr looking to create some space. Here is Drysdale again. Asking a lot of Hurd, but Hurd tried to make something of it. And the first touch then for Matt Laycock, and his first into services. 2 clean sheets in the under-23s. Certainly was an impressive goalkeeper, and he'll feel like he did all he could do towards the championship. So no surprise to see him making the jump to this senior level. Ball down the line now for Walker. Now Davy Vincent. Elliot Holmes is playing on that left wing, but he's certainly being tasked to drift inside. Here he is now. Smart play from the Navy. Can they use the space there? McCormack just taking a little too long on it, really. And now Jake Walker has to go back to him. Here's Dan Kerr. The RAF, all 11 men behind the ball in their own half at the moment. Danny Kerr. Walker. Vincent made a run forward. Kerr again. This time Powell comes into the equation. The Navy probing to try and create this first real opportunity of the game. That's a good flick. And now there's a chance for Hurd into the penalty area. Gaz Hurd and a ball across and a chance for the Navy. Good save by Matt Laycock. It was Jake Walker who swung a left foot at it. Elliot Holmes might have wanted it too, but good save low down by the RAF shot stopper. That was the opportunity the Navy had been waiting for. Patiently probing. The ball through was excellent and a good run from Hurd. Feel that we've settled into a pattern of the play. Here's Danny Kerr after the RAF tried to press. Battle of the Chris's on the sideline. Chris James, head coach of the Royal Navy, and Chris Hamilton, head coach of the RAF. But we're still 0-0 here in Shrewsbury. The Navy having the best chance of the game just moments ago. And I'm pleased to say, joining me, sprinting across the pitch, well, around the pitch, through the Shrewsbury traffic, is Andy Kuchta, the former RAF head coach. How are you feeling? Did you make the run?
Out of breath. That's what I am, Kyle, I'll tell you.
Thank you for joining us anyway. Still 0-0. You haven't missed much so far. The Navy certainly are probing. The RAF letting them have the ball in certain positions. Happy to try and hit on the break, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like a lovely evening. Pitch looks in good nick. And I was listening to it on the car, and looks like the Navy have settled really strong, but the Air Force got their work cut out.
Two strong teams, we know that. I mean, you have worked with a lot of these RAF players, and you've worked against a lot of these Navy players. It was 2 years ago, your final inter-services, which ended in last-minute heartbreak, but you know exactly what Elliot Holmes can do, for example, for the Navy.
Yeah, thanks for that, Carl. Appreciate that. But yeah, he's a fantastic player, and they've got some really good players. And as you said earlier in the commentary, you know, both teams have got some fantastic UCAF players. You know, they're all extremely talented, so expecting a really good game.
Phil Bright looking for the switch, and now Joe Spalding was a scorer in that game here at Shrewsbury, looking for Michael Campbell. Good defending, good goalkeeping from Los McCormick. Michael Campbell in his 10th year of RAF football with the senior team.
Yeah, I think he's going to. I think he's trying to get the trophy off Danny Dixon, isn't he? You know, but he's been a stalwart for RAF football and military football right across the services. Well, so
I'm glad you brought up Danny Dixon, because there was an error in the pre-match programme today, which has made a lot of us chuckle. AS1 Kieran Best has Danny Dixon's picture. Very different players, I'm afraid.
And one's slightly more mature than the other, I'd say. But again, both good players. Kieran's a great talent coming through, and obviously Danny, you can learn a lot from Danny over the years and his experience.
Well, that would have been offside against Josh Randall. If you are watching along on Facebook or on YouTube, please do get involved. Darren Parr says, "Come on, Brighty," and the support for Ollie Ward, Dan Greet, who was a scorer in this fixture last year for the Navy, unavailable tonight. He thinks Ollie Ward will be scoring a hat-trick. And Tom Richardson's already giving you stick. He says that
he was texting me in the car, giving me grief, and he knows me. He knows me well. I hate being late, so a 4-hour trip from the Midlands. It should have been a 2-hour journey, but hey ho, we're here now. Let's hopefully enjoy the football.
That's asking a lot of Phillips, and Phil Bright sees it out. And a chance then for Matt Laycock in goal to get his hands on the ball, or his feet on the ball with a goal kick.
Yeah, so it looks like the RAF are pushing up. Well, the fullbacks were pushing up high, but Brody's just dropped in there, getting on the ball.
And Gray sends it forward to Campbell, looking for the flick on. It'll come back for the RAF skipper, and down the line it goes to Spalding, and Goddard's got a lot of space in the middle. Couldn't find the cross, Spalding.
That's really nice football, but great defending.
Did really well, Jack McCormack, for the Navy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because I can't see from this far up. Is that Josh Randall out there?
Josh Randall was at the back post waiting. I think it was Spalding looking to get the cross in.
So whichever side it is, either whether it's Josh or Joe Spalding, they're both blessed with a lot of pace. So did well defending that. Let's see what they've got up the sleeve from the corner.
RAF corner then, taken short. Bit of a set piece routine, and that's not gone well.
Basics.
Cardinal sin. Chris Hamilton will not be happy on this. In fact, I think he might have thrown a bottle there.
Can't be outside from your own corner. It's been an even start. You know, both sides are looking to play on a nice open pitch.
Pete Bradley is in the comments. Very sad to see Dane Rigby not part of the Royal Navy squad this year. Well-loved sub-goalkeeper. Fortunately, no, he is not. The Navy have some goalkeeping options, that's for sure, once again. Hard to look past the man in the yellow, Los McCormick. UCAF shot stopper too. Here's McCormack. Drysdale back once again for the Navy after missing 2025, and his experience is such a boost. And we can talk about Danny Kerr, we can talk about Los McCormick, but what Drysdale brings is unreplaceable, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just steady Eddie, isn't he? You know, he's always been solid. He's you know, he reads game well, and he's consistent whether he's playing at UCAF level or for the Royal Navy.
Powell then with the throw will go back to Drysdale. Interesting to see that Navy are quite happy to be patient with it. I think they've realised they're going to get a lot of the ball tonight. Yeah,
it's just it's a contrast of two teams, to be fair, because Navy being patient, but like you say, the Air Force are allowing them to have it in that back four area, just dropping off, keeping their shape.
Good flick by Powell. Great defence.
Just sitting in, and the Air Force have got good shape.
It's those sort of moments, isn't it, for the Air Force, when Goddard has space in the middle there. They've got to try and take advantage if this tactic is going to work. Yeah,
absolutely. But you can see what the Air Force are trying to do, and it's clever because they're dropping off, allowing the Navy to come up high up the pitch, knowing full well that they've got pace in behind with Joe Spalding and Josh Randall. So, and then try and nick it on the turnover, and then I would imagine try and break quickly.
Yeah, when you've got the pace of Spalding and Randall, you see why that Chris Hamilton and his coaching staff are looking at this as the option. Drysdale now for the Navy once again.
It'd be interesting though. It's going to be interesting how the Navy try and break this this block. But that's a great knock.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it
swings the corner.
Yeah, it's not pretty, but it's effective. You know, because the Air Force are going to sit in that low block, and the Navy have got to try and figure out how to get in behind it, and it might be as direct as that.
It means Drysdale and McCormack come forward. McCormack scored a header at Fratton Park against the Army a couple of years ago, and it was Jack Wright who scored from a corner or from a set piece for the Navy against the RAF 12 months ago. So they certainly can score from these set pieces, and there was already a crowd around Matt Laycock as Sean Powell comes over to take the corner, left-footed, in swinging. It's actually gone low and bounced across, and has it gone in? It still hasn't. Yeah. All eyes on the referee. He looks to his linesman. There's not going to be a goal somehow.
Can't believe the goal line technology VAR hasn't intervened, but I think we might have got away with that one, but like you say, without seeing the replay, I'm not sure if it's gone in. But
well, I mean, even with the replay, we're going to struggle from here. It was the ball in from Powell, and somehow it bounced all the way through. The RAF will not be happy that that's been able to happen. But Laycock's goal, living a charmed life there. Now can the Navy take advantage of this momentum? McCormack. I think if it would have gone over the line, it would have been an own goal. That's a good lofted ball for Holmes. His touch just lets him down.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I think it would have been an own goal from Goddard, I think, who put himself in that position.
Yeah, I think Henry Phillips did really well on that corner because he just opened his body up and blocked the RAF on the front post, and just allowed the ball across his body, which caused chaos in that 6-yard box. But fair play, the Air Force defended well and got it away.
I wonder if it was a bit of set-piece shenanigans, because immediately all the players went around the goalkeeper and we thought this is where it's headed, and the Navy had another idea. It's all the rage in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely.
Long balls and set pieces.
Set pieces, yeah. We're on about that at the Liverpool and Arsenal games over the weekend.
Goddard then comes short, and Brodie Gray Looks for the pace of Randall. He's got Phil Bright in support, but it's really well defended.
That is well defended.
That's
really
Phillips again.
Aaron's picked up the pieces. That's good. It's good football.
He's Hyatt.
Yeah, it's
Randall
great feet.
on the half turn, doing really well. Great sliding tackle by McCormack though. And that's not what Danny Kerr was looking for when he found Smith.
Yeah, good start.
The RAF just starting to come forward a little bit more now. Campbell spins nicely and gets it back to Spalding, but it's Elliot Holmes back there doing some defending. He did really well actually. And now Danny Kerr and the Navy just on the back foot a little bit.
Yeah, but that was better from the Air Force. Just got a little bit higher up the pitch and started to play in the final third. Knocked it about and got him behind.
Number 5 for the RAF, the impressive Ryan Mulligan, did really well at under 23 level and has earned that call up, but he's, well, put under a lot of pressure there by Ollie Ward.
Yeah, 23s did well, and it's testament to Tom this year that you know, these boys have been selected for the senior squad. So you know, both centre halves did really well for the 23s. I went and watched that game, and you know, really encouraging that he's Ryan Mulligan started
and
today.
Matt Laycock in goal.
Yeah.
And I would suspect that Brian Parfitt, the other centre back partner, might have been involved, but I believe he did go off with an injury in the final under 23 game, so that could be why he's not involved tonight. But a testament, like you say, and when you keep 2 clean sheets in the inter-services, that goes a long way. You can see that Chris Hamilton's probably gone, well, we need that stability.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got you know, the problem is these are 2 games a season, and unfortunately you haven't got that many to prepare and throw them in and trial them, and you know, you can't emulate this inter-service game. So unfortunately it's a little bit of a sink or swim in these situations. You put them in and let, you know, hope that their ability and their talent takes them through the game.
Compare that to the Navy. You do have some youth on the bench, but in the starting lineup it's all about inter-services experience. I was quite hoping to see on the bench for the RAF young George McCowie, but he's not available. Elliot Holmes now into the penalty area. Good defending though by Mulligan.
Yeah, just covered the ground there, and just Brodie Gray just misread that a little bit and just got tucked in a little bit behind. But great cover from Ryan there.
It's going to be the interesting battle, isn't it? Holmes against Gray tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both very good, intelligent footballers as well. You know, they know when to put a boot in, when to tackle, when to run, and both very good footballers. So they're getting them on the ball, they'll cause you problems.
Bright looking to win it back for the RAF, does really well. Now Josh Randall getting chance to spin and drive at the Navy. Looking for an option in the penalty area. He's found a cross. Just a little bit too much down the throat of Loz McCormick, but better from the RAF and good from Randall.
Yeah, it's positive. Really positive, and you know, he got out his man, and then
here's Ollie Ward.
Oh, it's great feet.
Brilliant feet to keep hold of it and bring
done really
Powell
well
into the play.
Yeah, really good.
Powell's asked a bit much of him, but Mulligan's not taking any chances, and smart from the defender. Brodie Gray is a fascinating footballer to watch, really, because yes, at times, a lot of the time he is in these full-back positions for the RAF, but he has the technical ability to be a winger, to be a centre midfielder. I saw him score a brilliant free kick for what was the under-23s against the Dutch a few years ago, and he's just one of those players that can do it all.
Yeah, he is, and I mean, I was blessed. I had him in my group and my teams, and for me, like you said, he didn't play at fullback. He played as a central midfielder, and he was pivotal in there. He's such a clever player, but you know, the good thing with him, he's such a nice lad as well. To be fair,
Phil Bright's mum is watching along from the stands while also listening to us. The best way for inter-services football, that. Of course, supporting the RAF and the #1 member of the Phil Bright fan club.
Absolutely.
Here's Gray then for the throw with the RAF. That's Sent forward towards Randall again. That seems to be the play. Quickly move the ball.
But Henry Phillips has done really well to say it's his first IS. You know, he's settled well, hasn't he? You know, because you know, certainly Josh has got an abundance of pace. He's a little bit unpredictable in the way he dribbles the ball. He's, you know, which is one of his main strengths.
It's one of these players, I like to call him a tricky player. You don't quite know what you're always going to get with them, but they certainly have the ability to be the match winner.
He can go and win you a game easily.
McCormick sends it forward then. The Navy just lost a little bit of the momentum they had in the first few minutes. The RAF growing back into this game. That was a bit of a risk, but Laycock was aware, and that ball goes forward. Well defended by the Navy. It's really smartly done by McCormick. The Army, I'm sure, will be watching on. The RAF, a home game opening the tournament for the second year in a row. Do you prefer to open the tournament or play the last two?
To be fair, I always preferred to play the last two, because you could always at least get a look at one of your opposition in the first game, and you know, I think that's key. But you know, it's nice if you do play your first game, win it, and then you're playing your cup final the week after, and you can actually wrap up the tournament before it's even started for the other teams. So it's 6 and 2 threes, to be fair.
Interesting choice of goalkeeping there from Laycock. Elliot Holmes' ball in. No harm, no foul in the end, literally. We saw, didn't we, last year that the Army built on getting a good result in the opening game. The RAF felt like they should have beat the Army last year in Shrewsbury. They didn't. A 1-1 draw, and then the Army had a completely different tactic for the Royal Navy in Uxbridge, but that led to a championship, and that's what these games can do. Every game matters. It's not just the final game.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's I mean, your first one's your cup final, to be fair, because if you don't get at least a draw out of it, you know, you're relying on everybody else to get your results for you.
Handball given there against Phil Bright.
So out of all the games, I think there's more pressure on the first game, because you need something out of the game, even if it's a point.
No complaints about the handball there from Phil Bright. It's just making me think. I don't think I've ever seen him in an angry way challenging a referee. He's just too nice.
Yeah, he's a good lad. But
good win there from Ayat. That will be a free kick. Danny Kerr caught on the ball and not allowing the RAF to come forward. Two UCAF teammates battling in there.
Yeah, it's been very cagey, hasn't it? It's been a bit of a chess match, and I'm not quite sure. I think the Navy had the first sort of 10-15 minutes and grew into the game, and then the Air Force have grown into the game, and
that's a smart ball. And Randall's taking it down well. Drysdale's coming across, but it's McCormick using every ounce of his experience, but also still some fresh legs in there to get there and keep hold of the ball. Sean Powell. Slightly different role for Powell this year. Played in a wing-back role at Fratton Park in that really successful Navy performance. Still in at the left-back position, but 4 at the back tonight for Chris James's team. That's a good ball forward with Walker and Hurd around it. Here's Walker. Just over hit the cross. Could see the idea.
Yeah, done really well there, but the two lads had just made the same counter movement. Unfortunately, they checked out and just both driven towards the ball.
I know the Navy are really excited about this attacking quartet up front with Jake Walker in the 10. Ollie Ward is someone playing step 5 football for Soham Town Rangers, and he's certainly one they think will do big things this year. And the Navy are hungry. They were so disappointed to lose their championship last year. Two sides with a real point to prove after 2025.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harbottle back in with the team as well.
Yeah, it's good to see him back, because you know, he's had a horrific sort of 4 or 5 years with injuries, and just whenever he got back from one, his body just wasn't quite right. Unfortunately, he suffered with it. But here we go.
Good play from Spalding. He's got Goddard on the edge of the box. It's a shot from Spalding. It's Easily saved by McCormick, the
Yeah,
wrong
it's good.
option.
It's positive, and that's what he's good at.
I can imagine Mikey Goddard will give him a bit of an earful when he gets a second for that.
However, if you get down to Mikey Goddard and ask him whether he wants the shot or Joe Spalding, I can guarantee you'll say Joe Spalding.
Jack McCormack now. Still 0-0 in Shrewsbury. Just under half an hour gone. And that's,
Oh, he's done.
well, Phil Bright wins the goal kick.
Yeah, he's done well.
Made it difficult. Still 0-0, as I say, and the Navy probably with the best chance of the game, but neither side has really made that golden opportunity just yet. It's cagey. It's an inter-services opener. It's no real surprise.
Yeah, it is cagey, but it's you'll always get that in an inter-service game. But I think both defences will be happy because, you know, let's be honest, keepers haven't really been called into action yet, touch wood. So both sides will be defensively happy.
That's a smart ball from Goddard. Campbell will keep it in and win a throw. You can certainly see when you look in these side areas of the pitch where the Shrewsbury Town officials have decided to make this pitch a little smaller. But it might give us a chance of another 2026 staple. The long throw is back, everybody.
Yep.
Mikey Goddard seems to have one up his sleeve, perhaps. Mulligan's made his way forward for this, and it's in towards Mulligan, and that will go behind for a corner kick. The linesman took a second to make the decision. A chance for the Navy to do something from the set piece. Harbottle over to take it. As you say, bounced back from injuries, and what was really interesting in the notes that they talked about, he came straight in and was creating goals, scoring goals, and that's what he offers this team. It'll actually be Bright to go and take the throw, corner.
Let's hope they don't get caught offside.
Yeah, there's some sort of set piece routine here. Wow. That's 2 corners for the RAF, 2 corners wasted.
Yeah.
When you got Mulligan come up from the back, when you've got other key players who can win you headers, such as Michael Goddard and others, it's a bit frustrating to see that happen.
Yeah, it's got to be better, but at the end of the day, we see it week in, week out in the Premiership. So, you know, just getting the quality right and setting yourself and just making sure the set piece is right.
Campbell charging down McCormack. Here's Phillips. The Navy then all in white. Favoured kit really here at Shrewsbury in particular. That's a good ball wide. Smith does well, and Laycock will get rid of the danger. Goddard against Kerr there is a brilliant battle physically.
Yeah.
There's Aaron Hyatt running into trouble though. Jake Walker looks to slide in Ward. Laycock does well.
Like you say, it's a great physical battle, both good specimens. A battle of the PTIs, wasn't it?
Liam Smith then. Liam Smith's a really interesting one. He's been around the RAF team for a number of years. He was in with the squads in your final few years as well. And I remember a training session I filmed with you where Liam Smith was perhaps had a knock and was really worked with by the coaches. A player that you could see the potential back then, and he's starting now to be a mainstay for this RAF team.
Yeah, absolutely, and we saw that ability in him obviously years ago when you know, he just joined the Air Force and he made his way into my squad, and he's such a talented footballer, but he's the most laid back person on the planet. But it's great to see that he's kicked on. He's you know, and he's playing football at a good level, which improves his urgency on the ball, because that was the bit that was lacking. He was just so relaxed that he wanted all the time in the world. But he's kicked on since then, and it's really positive to see him out there today.
Well, he won't get all the time in the world at that centre-back position when you've got this Navy team hunting down.
It's just this midfield, isn't it, that's sort of being cancelled out. They seem to be cancelling each other out. Both teams just can't seem to play through the middle of the park and playing a little bit of this long ball.
A little too easy for the Navy there. McCormack. It's up to Vincent, it's up to Walker, it's up to Kerr to try and link the lines through.
Just needs a little bit of a movement, but they just seem to be both sides impatient and forcing the ball a little bit. That's the Navy just giving the turnover back from what the Air Force gave them, 20 seconds earlier. I think they just need to break a little bit of line and trust the ball into midfield.
Davy Vincent's mum is watching along from Sunderland.
Yeah, another fantastic player and another stalwart of Navy football. He's been around for a number of years now, but what a clever, tenacious little player. So really talented, but scored some goals against us over the years.
It's interesting, you look at that midfield battle in the middle there, you look at Ayer, you look at Kerr, you look at Vincent. It's the UCAF midfield.
Yeah, it's a great midfield, and I think that's the problem. It's they just cancelling
each other so well,
and they're just cancelling each other out. But that's a great tackle.
The referee's given the free kick. Powell certainly went down in a heap. From our point of view, it did look like there was connection with the ball. Now, whether the referee felt that it was a little bit wild from Mulligan.
Yeah, I think that'll be a booking. Yeah, he's gone to his pocket, isn't he?
Little bit of inexperience and youthful exuberance, let's say.
Yeah, maybe, but
I did think he did win the ball. I do think he got on the ball, I will say that. But that's not necessarily always enough in modern football.
Yeah, that's you look at the area of the pitch and the centre halves are being dragged out into there. The last thing they want is quick little nippy wingers, being isolated into those in those areas of the pitch. So
it's what Sean Powell can offer. Yes, he's playing at left back, but he has played left wing for the Navy before.
Yeah, he has, but he gets up and down, doesn't he? And he does it. He's done it for done it for UCAF during the Kentish and against the Irish. So
here is Powell. Didn't quite go how the Navy wanted it to go there. A little bit of miscommunication, but they'll try and recover it with Vincent. Smart pass if Ollie Ward stays onside, and he has. Ward back to Vincent. It's Danny Kerr with a shot, actually. It's still Kerr. Corner. The Navy trying to end this first half how they started it with some momentum.
Let's see what their set piece is like, because they caused problems in the last one.
They did. It went straight through the near post, didn't it?
So see what variation they've brought to the table.
Well, immediately they crowd that penalty area again, that 6-yard box. So it's going to be difficult for Laycock to get near this if it heads in that direction. Powell once again left-footed in swinging. Danny Kerr up to his usual tricks. Good ball in.
I'll tell you what. Oh, well done.
Brilliant goalkeeping actually.
Yeah,
from
it was
Laycock.
great goalkeeping.
Gives Danny Kerr a push on the way through as well. Good introduction to inter-services football that. Spalding asking a lot of Randall. Cormac nearly lost control of it actually.
Yeah, he just lost it for a moment, but again, brilliant play from the goalkeeper. I thought, came and claimed it, distributed quickly, but it saw the 2-on-2.
George Haynes is watching along on YouTube, supporting the RAF. And Thomas says, come on the RAF, where's Jack Devner when you need him? There, that was a player. Well, that is a player.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he could be involved in inter-services football tonight, he would be.
Yeah, what a player. What a player, what a lad. Bundle of energy.
Here's Randall. Keeps hold of it away from Vincent. Campbell looking to make space in the penalty area. But Randall will go for goal. It's bounced. McCormick just for a second lost control of it. Campbell was hunting, but McCormick got there again.
Yeah, it's positive though. It's good because it's his weaker foot. He's cut inside and had a go. Brilliant.
It's interesting you say weaker foot. He's so two-footed in a lot of ways, Josh Randall. For a weaker foot, it's a strong weaker foot.
Yeah.
Elliot Holmes trying to win the header. And that's not what the Navy will be looking for from him. It's not his strength, is it,
No.
holding the ball up? It's attacking players. Laycock. Goalkeeper that he's good with his feet. Sends it forward. Goddard. Did he win that? Not sure. But Campbell into the penalty area now. And I think the RAF players just got in each other's way a little bit. Miss hit by Campbell. Chance gone.
You can just see on the transition, the Air Force just sort of go 4-2-4. When the centre halves have got it, they're going 4v4 at the back, 4v4 against the Navy back four. And to be fair, the Navy have stood strong so far, but it's a big risk.
Looking in towards Elliot Holmes.
He's done well there. Done really well. He was under a bit of pressure. He got the best of balls into him.
A player I know the Navy are hugely happy to see back playing into services football. I think they do see 2025 without Drysdale, without Holmes, and the missing Kerr at times. They see it as what could have been. Joe Spalding has intercepted well there, though. Holmes just caught in his heels. Goddard looking for Campbell, who's pulled away to the left. And Campbell into the penalty area. Great ball, and it's a lovely RAF goal.
I thought it was offside. Great goal.
Brilliant stuff. Goddard on the end of it with a diving header. Phil Bright jumping in celebration. That was excellent from the RAF.
Yeah, really good goal. Brilliant goal.
All about Michael Campbell pulling to the left as well. That's what he can do. Find the yards, find the space, and then do the damage with the ball. What a ball in.
But again, it was that 4-2-4 formation. Well, not formation, but the way they transition on the attack, and it was just a sloppy ball from the Navy. It was intercepted, and then it was a sort of a 4v3 overload and stretched the Navy, but executed well.
To use a very modern footballing word, it's overloads, isn't it? It's overloads in that position, and
it's about setting traps and then creating the overload, as you just alluded to.
Well, Mikey Goddard on the score sheet for the RAF, a goal that will mean so much to him to score at inter-services level. Been in and around RAF teams, has been unlucky sometimes not to be picked or unavailable due to work commitments, but he's here tonight and he's making an impact. The RAF lead. And it's a goal that goes perfectly into Chris Hamilton's game plan, because yes, they've been happy to hit on the brakes at times. They've been trying to force that overload, and now they've got the goal to defend as well. Vincent, excellent ball in though, and it's a great touch and turn.
Well done. Calm it down.
Laycock did very well to save it. He didn't quite catch it, Ward, but
again, that was good football by the Navy. Put it in, then put it into an area. They had an overload on the on the far post. Didn't quite get the flick.
And in the comments on YouTube, I see the RAF celebration starting to roll in.
Long way to go yet.
Well, the RAF did take the lead against the Army here last year. It was Michael Campbell himself scoring the goal. They couldn't hold on to it that night. Phil Bright does excellently again.
Well done, Brighty.
You talk about a player that can play in different positions. I've seen him in RAF Cup semi-finals and finals up front.
But they seem to be liking this ball, the Navy. It seems to be their out ball of trying to get it in behind the RAF's left back. And at the minute, fair play to Brighty, stood up to the challenge, but
I will apologise if you heard any foul language from the pitch there. Lewis Brownhill is on the sideline, so that explains it all. Is Brodie Gray. The RAF just getting a bit of confidence now after that goal. Gray not using it well enough though. And it'll be a throw. Paula Brighthill is watching on Facebook and YouTube. She's everywhere. George Haynes says one goal is never enough. No, need a second, but no hurry. 100%. We want to see goals and goals and goals. We've got one. Drysdale against Campbell there, just forcing him into a little bit of a danger situation. The RAF get a throw out of it. Good pressure from Campbell.
Yeah, it's a great press, isn't it? You know, defenders turned, going back to their own goal line. You know, you just keep pressing and pressing and pressing and hope put them under pressure. At least you get the turnover and you get the second phase of the throwing.
The Navy just having a moment where they're not quite sure. Chris James not looking happy on the sideline. It'd be an RAF throw then with Brodie Gray. Ayotte lofts it into the penalty area. It might lead to a Navy break here with Gaz Hurd. He does have pace. See Walker making a smart run. Gaz Hurd going all on his own though, and that's going to be a free kick.
That's another yellow card, I'm afraid.
I think that's Brodie Gray going in the book this time.
Yeah.
And these are moments that might just come back later in the game to bite the RAF. That's the right back and the right centre back both on a booking if this heads the way we expect. And yes, Brodie Gray will be getting a booking from our Army official.
It's a good breakaway, and he was going with pace, wasn't he? And he was going to get a crossing. So as they say in the professional game, you take one for the team, don't you? And unfortunately, Brodie's brought him down. But at least the Air Force can regroup, defend it. But it certainly gives the Navy a chance to get the big lads up and get it in the box.
Into injury time at the end of this first half then. The Navy with an opportunity to get back into the game. It'll be Holmes over the free kick. It's in that lovely position, isn't it, for the Navy, where anything from Holmes towards that 6-yard box could do damage. In it goes, and the header.
Oh, it's just wide, unlucky.
It is just wide. It was Gaz Hurd who picked himself up to win the header. And the Navy go close to an equaliser.
It's a big strength of the Navy's, isn't it? Now that's sort of 2-3 set pieces that they've put into the box and caused problems. You know, they've got some good headers of the ball. They've got some big lads. You know, the quality of delivery has been good on the 3 occasions, and you know, it's just something that maybe Hammy needs to have a look at half time and just calm the lads down in the final third, in our own final third, in the RAF, should I say. And not give away, try and stop giving away silly free kicks. But a good half for both teams, I thought. You know,
it's not a lot in this, and there is tenseness on both sides. But the RAF will go in at half time, a goal into the lead, and it could be all important. The Navy with some work to do in the second half. Phil Bright's very particular about his bottle, by the way. He's come all the way over here just to get his bottle to go back. Cleans up after himself and everything. Let's have a look at the goal that separates the two teams quickly then for you. And it was started by Goddard and finished by Goddard. It was his ball out to the left-hand side with Michael Campbell twisting inside again. And the wonderful ball in, headed home, diving header on the stretch. One you dream of, really. Those sort of diving headers.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, that's what he's got. He's got a great engine. So you know, he's a fit lad. He'll get up and down, and like you said, he started the move, you know, and then has that desire and commitment to get in the box and get on the end of it, and got his just reward, and puts the RAF in a good position for going into the break. But I'm sure Chris will be rallying around the Navy lads. Maybe make a couple of tactical changes or a couple of tweaks in the way they're trying to get the ball in behind the RAF, and it'll be interesting what he comes out with to try and get back in the game in the second half.
Well, if the Inter-Services Trophy is going to be sky blue in 2026, the RAF are 45 minutes towards that goal. We'll be back for the second half very shortly, and while we are gone, you get to see some fantastic action from the under-23s. We've had some great American football recently, so enjoy.
It's right across the box, it's a big chance.
Great play by the Navy there, fantastic football.
And it's a goal! The Army have an all-important second goal.
Little time in this match, thrilling stuff, especially in the second half.
One game plan, and it's paid off.
Dawn of a new era. This is the Under-23 Inter-Services Football Championship. But for a lot of these players tonight, it is the first taste of Inter-Services. You will witness future stars of Kentish Cups and senior Inter-Services here tonight, that is for sure.
Glory!
Oh, what a save that is!
What a hit from the lad.
The tournament for the Stars of the Future kicked off in Havant, where both the RAF and the Navy were looking to prove their title credentials.
Oh,
And it hit the crossbar, bounced down and gone away, and he couldn't get much closer to scoring than that.
In the end, Rio Ward's well-taken finish gave the RAF the perfect start.
He
Oh,
cuts
he's in.
inside, brilliant chance for the RAF.
Good
And
save.
a good save. The rebound though,
Yabba, goal!
and the RAF take the lead.
The Air Force then went to Oswestry, knowing the title could be sealed with a win.
Two brothers linking together. England across the box, and it's somehow not gone in.
It was a day of frustration against the Army though, as missed chances were the theme of the match.
And there's not going to be a way through. It's 0-0. It ends 0-0. The title, well, it's still up for grabs.
Going into the final match, the Army had a job to do: win, and by more than one goal.
And it's straight into the back of the net. Oh, what a start for the Army.
The contest against the Navy swung one way,
Floats it in and into the net. And we have a second goal already.
and then the other.
He's running the keeper and he has scored a second goal.
But the Army had the cutting edge.
Jones through ball. And that is going to be another goal for the British Army.
Back-to-back championships for the Young Guns.
It's brilliant from Sean Woolley. It's a brilliant goal from the number 11.
That is sensational. It gets the crowd going wild.
And that feels like a huge moment in this game.
It's been a impressive victory.
It's right across the box. It's a big chance.
Great play by the Navy there, fantastic football.
And it's a goal! The Army have an all-important second goal. This Inter-Services Championship is about to take another twist.
Full time in this match. Thrilling stuff, especially in the second half.
One game plan, and it's paid off. The Army are Inter-Services champions in 2025.
Hi, I'm Kyle Dixon, and this is In Case You Missed It. In run-scoring form in South Africa, the Navy men's and women's cricket teams have won some key games on their tour of the country. Ben Johnston's incredible score of 105 runs from 105 balls was the highlight, while a 10-wicket victory saw the Navy's women's players impress in Cape Town. Stepping away at the very top, the British Army Under-23's football team will be looking for a new head coach after Keith Emerson announced he will be leaving the role. He departs after the Army won consecutive Inter-Services titles at the Under-23's level, and he leaves the military as one of the UK Armed Forces' best footballers ever. A Six Nations debut. RAF Rugby Union official Rebecca Piddleston will add more big match experience to her career when she makes her first appearance as a Six Nations official in April. She's been picked as an assistant referee for the Ireland v Italy, France v Ireland and Wales v Italy matches. Heading on a Fijian tour, the British Army men's and women's volleyball teams are heading to Fiji for a busy tour of the island. Matches against local sides have been arranged, as well as an eye-catching inter-services style tournament against the Fijian service teams. Many of the Army's players have Fijian roots, so the location is a fitting place for the tour to take place. Testing themselves against the best, the UK Armed Forces women's football team will take on the French Armed Forces for the first time ever. A high-profile match has been announced for April the 15th at the SB Stadium in Sandhurst.
Most of Victor's decoys can be deployed and inflated in minutes, minimising the time personnel are exposed.
Could this be the future of firearms training? Forces News has been given a first look at this new bit of kit. It's being described as a game changer.
Fighting in this climate adds new variables to combat situations.
If you stand up in that environment and you don't have protective gear on, you'll die.
This has led to the UK's first military-backed drone degree.
We have got so many lessons from Ukraine. What we need to do is start integrate those lessons into our Army, Navy and Air Force.
There's an ongoing battle for supremacy in the Atlantic.
Defending the Atlantic bastion is exceptionally difficult.
British company Wind Racers has allowed us into their new production facility where the unmanned aircraft system is put together.
So this is the Wind Racers Ultra Mark II.
Is he expecting an impact?
Pilots might decide to adopt the brace position as shown. If for any reason the door is blocked, he can then eject the window.
4 scintillating touchdowns from the RAF's wide receiver Elliot Knight secured the Mustangs' victory over Royal Navy American football in Game 1 of this year's Inter-Services. The defending champions beat the senior service 39-19 at Tilsley Park in Abingdon. It was a nervy defensive first quarter for both sides as the Royal Navy really took it to the two-time champions and kept the score to 0-0. But Knight was quick to get in on the action in the second quarter, with Dylan Poll adding the extra point. Adam Hennessy then weaved his way across the line to put the Light Blues 13 points up. The Royal Navy replied with what they call a tush-push, as quarterback Sam Scott was barreled over for the touchdown just before half-time. Johan Davis adding the extras for a 13-7 score at the break. Q3 saw another Knight touchdown, but it was really the brilliant service from RAF quarterback James Turner that made it look easy for the reigning champions. The score was 27 to the RAF going into the fourth quarter, with the final act of the game producing an exhilarating finish from both teams. 5 touchdowns were scored, Knight with his third, which really showcased his agility and speed with a weaving 70-yard sprint. But at 27-7 down, the Royal Navy put on the best offensive performance we've seen from them in the 4 years since this tournament began. Running back Ben Weatherall went over twice for the men in white to bring them within touching distance of the RAF at 27-19. Under pressure though, the Mustangs pulled away with another 2 scores. Knight and Poll combining again for the 5th score of 6-1. Before the quarterback Poll made an incredible interception to bag one for himself with a glorious long run to finish the game. A 39-19 win then for the Royal Air Force, but a vast improvement for Royal Navy American football as they go on to face the Army at Chapelgate in Bournemouth on the 13th of March. The final game between the Army and RAF will be back at Tilsley Park on the 27th of March.
Right across the box, there's a big chance.
Great play by the Navy there, fantastic football.
The Army have an all-important second goal.
Full time in this match, thrilling stuff, especially in the second half.
One game plan, and it's paid off.
Some fantastic live action then coming up this week. It's a busy week for BFBS Sport. We are back in Lincoln tomorrow night for some live football as the RAF women's team look to continue their dynasty over women's forces football. They take on the Royal Navy, and tomorrow afternoon kicks off the Inter-Services netball live from RAF Cosford. Who can stop the Army? That's the real question. The RAF and the Navy will try to. 3 games, 3 days, netball action for the rest of the week. We are live here in Croud Meadow, Shrewsbury though tonight, where the RAF lead by a goal to nil. A really tight first half between two very talented teams. Both teams had opportunities. The Navy hit the bar in a absolute mess of a defensive set piece for the RAF, but it was the RAF who took the lead with Mikey Goddard, and I think we're going to see more of the same in this second half, where neither team will want to give the game away, is the right way to say it. The officials are ready. The officials are out. We're just waiting for our 2 sets of teams. You might have heard some. We've heard some bagpipes tonight. We're happy to hear some bagpipes. Why not? I'm sure they're cadets from Shrewsbury or Cosford, perhaps. And there is a healthy turnout here at Shrewsbury. Lots of people coming across. I can see lots of cadets actually. So good to see the RAF's future.
Navy are out first, raring to go. Getting this game kicked off. Closely followed by the RAF.
Paul Hodges watched along. He says, "Evening, good evening, Paul. Welcome to our live coverage here in Shrewsbury."
Doesn't look like the Air Force have made any changes. Just trying to look around, see if the Navy have made any changes, but it looks like the same 11 have come out, or
certainly looks that way. And that doesn't really surprise me, because both teams have had their chances and both teams have probably had their weaknesses in that first half. It's about tightening and change for the Navy, changing their tactic a little, but not too much, because it's working in a lot of ways. They're just waiting for that one moment.
Yeah, they just feel like both teams have become a little bit predictable. As I said, it just became a little bit of a pattern with the Navy. They're just trying to get in behind Brighty in the left back and playing a diag ball in behind the RAF left back, which, you know, they've not really had that much success, even though they keep trying it. But and then the Air Force are doing the same, trying to get Josh Randall in on the ball and Joe Spalding. So it'll be interesting how the second half sort of shapes itself out.
Ironically enough, or maybe one to note in a way, the goal itself came from the best piece of football in the game. Brilliant from Goddard, and Campbell pulling away for the only time in that first half to that near side. So perhaps that'll be something the RAF look at in this second half. Also worth noting, Brodie Gray, number 2, the right back for the RAF, and Ryan Mulligan, number 5, centre back on the right hand side for the RAF, both on a booking. We'll keep an eye on that in the second half. I'm sure Chris Hamilton has his thoughts on that as well already at half time. Phil Bright sends it forward towards Goddard, and underneath it is Joe Spalding. Spalding back to Harbottle, now Gray. Mulligan goes all the way back to Laycock. The RAF happy to settle into this second half. Mulligan around the corner. That looks like a foul by Drysdale. It is.
Good foul. Good bit of football there, and then played into the front man, and you know, Mikey Goddard's there, just tried to pin the defender and then bought the foul. So gets the Air Force up the pitch, but good bit of football. But great press already straight away. The Navy just a different element to the way they set up there. They just quickly, as soon as the Air Force had it at the back four, they tried to press a little bit higher up the pitch. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue that tactic.
Good ball in towards Campbell. Come off Drysdale's head. And McCormick will get hold of it. Shane Mitchell, who's watching along on YouTube, says Danny Dixon to come on and shore things up. Well, we've seen that before.
Yeah, about 348 times.
Yep.
The Air Force are, the Navy knocking it wide.
I mean, it is one of my favourite stories with RAF football. A few years ago, effectively the under-23s played the Dutch, and it was labelled as an under-23 side until they realised Danny Dixon was going to play, and they had to quickly change it to an RAF Select 11.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think that was the year I was out there with them. That Navy just pressed a little bit high now.
Here's Elliot Holmes down.
Good bit of football.
Twisting and turning, and has Joe Spalding on his back. Holmes does well and finds the cross, and maybe just a chance at the back post.
Unlucky that.
Good goalkeeping again by Laycock.
Better from the Navy. They sort of built that.
The delivery is asking Randall to chase. Well defended though by McCormack.
Yeah, it's better, a little bit more patient, and played through the lines to get up the pitch, played through the thirds rather than just going big. But a nice little bit of skill. You know, he's got that in abundance, hasn't he, Elliot Holmes? He'll always twist and turn and cause you problems. Shane
Mitchley points out in the RAF game I'm talking about with Danny Dixon, he actually scored a penalty. Yes, he did. Gaps, yeah. Interesting. Ben Whitney says Goddard for England. Well, he's the goal scorer tonight. Is Elliot Holmes. Jake Walker, deeper than we've seen him in this game at all. Might be a slight tweak from the Navy. And Danny Kerr back towards Walker. Spins, looking for an option. Jake Walker running down a bit of a blind alley and doesn't get the throw. And you might hear Mark Drysdale giving the lino a bit of stick in his trademark Irish accent.
That's it out.
Ryan on YouTube looking for team news. Well, there's a lot of UCAF players to digest, that's for sure. If you're looking for particular team news across the RAF and Royal Navy social channels, there is currently
Sean Powell wins the foul there, so yeah, Navy have started a little bit sharper, a little bit brighter, just shifting the ball a little bit quicker, which I think they needed to do, but
there is currently a blockage on social media posts at the moment, but we'll talk you through the players the best we can and the team sheets we've got. Navy free kick then. No changes at half time from the team that did start for both. Here's Drysdale. Powell. Drysdale asking a lot of Powell, but of Phillips. And now Danny Kerr.
Good rotation there. Danny Kerr's just tucked in and
asking a lot of Hurd. And Smith will see it out.
Yeah, good defending. Just a little bit too straight, that ball. Again, it's that tactic, trying to get it in behind Brighty, which not convinced by it, because it's not as if Brighty's slow. You know, he's got a bit of pace.
I just wonder, particularly if I'm Chris James, and look, Chris James knows a lot more than me, I will say that much, but if I'm Chris James, I'm actually thinking you need to direct things for the Navy on the left-hand side against the two players that have been booked for the RAF in that first half.
Yeah, I just think, you know, it's just a little bit too predictable from the centre half, just going long. I think they just need to lend that ball into the middle of the park and get the Air Force a little bit out of shape, but it's like now they just need to risk that pass into midfield, but they don't want to do that. They go side to side and then go big.
Here's Danny Kerr. Powell making a dart forward, unnoticed. Brodie Gray just backing up, but Drysdale doesn't go for the pass.
Again, this will be pumped in behind the right.
And that's a missed touch, and maybe the RAF might be able to break from this with Randall. And Goddard has stayed on side, but it's great pace to get back there from, I think it's Davy Vincent back there.
Oh, that's a good ball.
Okay. Excellent, and a chance now for the RAF, and the shot from range is not what Reece Harbottle was looking for.
It's good press though, good turnover, a little bit of intricate, and got a shot away. But yeah, like you said, great recovery there. I think it was it Dave Vincent or was it Henry Phillips just getting back there? to recover. I think it might have been Henry Phillips, to be fair. Showed a good burst of pace. Just like that, bounce into the 6. Yeah, that's it.
That's 6. When that 6 is Danny Kerr, you definitely want to get him on the ball as much as you can for the Navy. Here's Drysdale. Once again, Powell makes the run forward. This time Drysdale finds him. Chance to bring it down for Sean Powell. Spalding back at him. The Navy go back to Walker.
Well done. It's just a little bit of a pull there for Joe Spalding. Seems to be hobbling with his quad. By the looks of it.
Does.
Touching his
quad,
left
hip.
Yeah, just touching his left side.
Here's Campbell. Goddard. Well, they felt like the referee got in the way there, and
it did.
The Navy not able to capitalise.
Yeah, he's gone down now. That doesn't look good, because he pulled up straight away, Job. I'm not sure if that was just a knock or it's actually a pull, because I didn't see any impact.
The RAF do have options on the bench. Henry Jordan's one of them. Tom O'Hanlon another in those attacking positions. And I think we are going to be preparing an RAF change here.
Yeah,
I see Henry Jordan.
Yeah.
Warm up.
Just about to say Henry Jordan's your natural wide man.
Spalding's back on his feet though, and I think he will try and run this off if he can. Shane Mitchell says, chuffed to see Reece Harbottle fit and enjoying his football again. Solid beard as well.
Well, he's had 3 years to grow it.
Fair, that's fair. It does bring me to my most favourite fact from the player profiles we were given this evening. It's the RAF's David Vincent. They've just put in his best feature, his eyebrows. Fair enough.
Nice. Just looking at there, you've got there's just that imbalance in the middle of the park that the Navy just seem to all run on. Once they get the ball and they create a big front flat 5. That's better. There you go.
You could hear shouts of quicker for the Navy as well.
Yeah, it needs to be done quicker.
That's better. Now Vincent.
There you go.
Looking in behind.
Well done. Well defended. But that's better. They've got because the Air Force are going to be difficult to break down. They've got some, good defensive players, and they've got some talented players that understand the game, and you've got to shift them.
Well, at the risk of giving him a commentator's curse, Matt Laycock in the RAF goal has had, this is his 3rd inter-services game in general. He's had 2 clean sheets so far. He's looking for number 3.
Yeah, he's been impressive though, hasn't he? Even with the 23s, he's been good.
Holmes.
Yeah, tenacious as ever.
Now Drysdale. It's fascinating when we get to stand opposite the 2 boxes, by the way. They might not see it on camera. But the 2 management teams are very different. The RAF, there's a lot of movement in that managerial area. The Navy's Chris James just stands poignant, still thinking. Very different styles.
Yeah, he was always very difficult to read, Chris, because he's such a placid guy and a gentle, softly spoken. And when you do speak to him, he's very, very placid. I'm sure he thought the same about me jumping around in the opposite bench.
I wouldn't say placid was the word.
No, absolutely not. Passionate, we call it.
Yes, yeah. If you're having some issues watching along on Facebook, we are having a few issues with our platform there. Please do switch over to YouTube. There are no issues there at the moment. Phil Bright now for the RAF, looking to cause the Navy issues, but it's hacked clear by Phillips. I can see just above the tunnel area, two of our viewers tonight have managed to sit in the best seats in the house in Shrewsbury.
Who's that?
I don't know who's decided to sit there or has won the chance to sit there. I can't quite make it out from here, but I hope they're sitting comfortably.
It's been a really even second half so far. I think the tempo's certainly lifted, just a little bit more cagey from the Air Force, but the Navy I think have realised that they need to play a little bit quicker, be a little bit more tenacious.
Looking over the top towards Ward, who will get there, and the flag goes up. He was offside. Good defending, get back there, Liam Smith, but he was offside.
has gone down as well.
Another RAF injury scare, perhaps.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Looking at Joe Spalding, he's moving a lot more freely. Doesn't have a happy face on him, but I'm not sure Joe Spalding ever does, if I'm honest.
No. He's such a threat though with his pace, and when he gets his boots out on this chalk line, he's and you give him width and you give him space to run and play. He's phenomenal. He's frightening.
Well, the Navy know that. In your final game here 2 years ago, he was the RAF goal scorer. I remember, again, as you've just described, on the wing, managed to use his pace, clever finish. It's all what he's all about.
I think he did it the year before as well. We played a through ball. He nicked it just past Mark Drysdale, didn't he? And then just again opened his body up, and he likes that Henri finish where he open it up and side foot it with the right foot.
Kerr against Harbour, that's a very strong challenge. That's into services football in a nutshell. Spalding looking to use that pace, looking to use that ability. Drives into the penalty area now, Joe Spalding.
Oh, brilliant.
Into corner.
He's done well there because he was sandwiched in between two there, and Danny Kerr and I think it was Sean Powell there trying to block his run. He's just powered through, but at least won a corner. And let's hope the third corner is better than the first two.
Well, the RAF corners have not. The only word to use it so far in this game is disappointing. They've not made the most of it. I'm sure that'll be something that was mentioned at half time to take advantage of these opportunities. It's Bright and Ayat over the corner.
Absolutely, it's you work so hard to get up the pitch and get these opportunities, so you've got to make them count. That's a great delivery, by the way. And it's a great take as well. Oh, that's a booking.
That will be a booking, and I'm just trying to see who it's for. It'll be Joe Spalding if the card does come out. But actually, I think the Army official.
Yeah, it was a.
Well, it looked like he was going to be lenient for a moment, but I think he.
Has Liam Smith gone down again?
To a booking, and yes, just further ahead of him, Liam Smith has gone down again.
Yeah, that's not good news because he went down in his own box literally at the beginning of that attack, didn't he? So I'm just hopefully it's not something that's causing him an issue.
Well, he will get treatment, and it gives us a chance to perhaps look at some changes on the bench. I'm just trying to see who the best sort of centre-back option will be for the RAF.
Well, you've got the young lad, haven't you, that's come up from the 23s? Is it? And obviously the stalwart that can drop in there would be Danny Dixon.
That might be the option. It'd be interesting to see what Chris Hamilton does here.
Yeah, not really got a.
I think he's more of an attacking bench for the RAF tonight. They do have Ben Treadgold back on the bench after a number of deployments meant he was unavailable for a few years. It's not looking good for Liam Smith. As it at the moment, no changes are being prepared. And the RAF do lead. Liam Smith's back up on his feet actually, and well, it looks like he will try and soldier through. And Chris Hamilton is just asking for a little bit more from his RAF team as they look to defend this lead. If you heard a squeak there, our cameraman's got the squeakiest sneeze in the world. Here's Gaz Hurd taking it on the half turn. Great ball from Danny Kerr. Phillips with a cross.
Great football.
And it's bounced around, and Laycock finally gets hold of it, and the Navy close there.
Yeah, he's done really well. Done really well, Matt Laycock there, because he's been brave there. Because that's not a nice ball to try and come and play face first with your hands. So, but great football. Another bit of good football by the Navy. Free kick.
And Mikey Goddard just a little bit too physical with McCormack there.
Loves that element of the game though, doesn't he, Mike? He's he's a fit lad, physical lad. He loves that element. So
there are certain players, aren't there, that aren't going to perform unless they're being that competitive nature. A little too competitive there from Goddard, and he has walked his way into a booking there, I think.
As I said, loves that part of the game.
He did sort of give a gesture afterwards as if to say, well, defend himself in a way. I'm not sure that one was that defendable.
To be fair, he was entitled to go for the tackle because the actual touch from the Navy lad was a little bit loose, and it's just fell in front of him, and he just saw an opportunity, and it's an unfortunate one because it's. I don't think there was any malice in the tackle.
Well, that's 3 RAF bookings now.
So 28 minutes to go.
Yeah, the time is ticking down in the second half. The Navy have yet to find a way through. Drysdale looking to do something with it here. McCormack's up from the back at the back post. And that's where it's heading. And he wanted to push McCormack. He felt Liam Smith had put 2 hands in the back. The referee didn't see that.
It's well defended. Good line, held a good line and well defended. So
as the time ticks away in the second half, the RAF are gaining a little bit more and more control of the tempo of this. They're managing to, I'm not going to say time waste or wind the clock down, but play at their own pace.
It's about managing the game, and it's that's the hardest art really. It's trying to run this clock down and but at the same time do things within the laws of the game. But that's a great touch from Mikey.
Spalding smart. Gray looks for Campbell, who's pulled away onto the left-hand side and brings it down brilliantly.
What a touch.
The touch was brilliant, the miscommunication not quite.
Yeah, unfortunately the pass just a little astray, but great switch of play there from Brody Gray. Again, we're going back to that technical ability.
Drysdale searching for Holmes, but Gray intercepts, and Harbottle twists and turns. Spalding down the line for Goddard to chase, and Drysdale's got a bit of a problem here, and the 2 Navy, well, the keeper and the defender got in each other's way, and McCormick does enough.
It's not pretty, but he's done his job. But again, great ball down the side, but Loz has used his experience there and swept up superbly well, and he's had he's been a real fantastic goalkeeper over the last 2-3 years and made a real difference to Navy football.
Sean Powell getting ahead of Goddard and winning the ball. Kerr now, chance for the Navy to hit on the break with Hurd. And Phillips has come forward, and Smith says absolutely not, slams the door shut. Game is starting to open up in these final 20 minutes as the Navy desperately search for a way back into this. Pretty sure he was on the pitch there with that throw, but the RAF will play on. And it's 2 against 2. Randall, the Navy trying to get players back. Josh Randall drives. He's got Goddard in the penalty area. And in the end, it's good defending from the Navy.
Yeah, really good defending. There's nothing worse than defending against pace.
And they're breaking well here. But the RAF this time defend it well.
Yeah, well swept up.
Laycock gets
good enough. Well done.
There was just a moment in the middle of that Phil Bright with a late challenge. I just wondered if the referee might have thought about pulling it back, but he didn't. The Navy bring it forward. Holmes gets it back. Elliot Holmes. Good ball into the penalty area, and the header.
It's in.
And he's off the line. Is it? It's going to be a goal.
Oh, it isn't. It was in.
Laycock did everything he could to keep it out, but Ollie Ward equalises for the Royal Navy.
Good goal, unfortunately, but they were just coming into it and pressing a little bit higher, and you know, the chance just presented itself, but there were a couple of elements, a couple of passages of play where the Navy have just got down the sides of the Air Force and just upped the tempo, and it created a chance.
Well, the Royal Navy are also preparing a change. And it's going to be Gaz Hurd coming off, and on will come Dylan Holgate. The Navy back in the game and perhaps looking for more.
The thing with this Navy side, they're such a, you know, they've got some really talented players. You never write them off, and again, I think Elliot was instrumental in there and just getting up the pitch and causing a few problems. But another contribution to inter-service football.
Well, Holgate comes on and immediately tries to win it back. He goes into the right wing position, more of a wing back actually. So we'll see if we see some change there.
We've got game on now.
Elliot Holmes with the assist, by the way. Always worth mentioning that. Randall can't get on the end of that. It's a really interesting ball in from Holmes, wasn't it? Where he seemed to have no backlift and it managed to find a way through, and a brilliant header. It's 1-1 in Shrewsbury. All to play for then. Heading into the final few moments of this game. Here's Holmes, who's just dragged the Navy back into it with a well taken assist.
Another great ball where he just turns and Brighty's done well though, stuck to his job.
Pete Bradley says Elliot Holmes is the self-proclaimed best player to ever play for the Navy. To be fair, with what Elliot Holmes has done over the few years for the Royal Navy, he's up there for a match, for an impactful match winner in the inter-services, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's a good lad, good player. Navy are just starting to turn the screw a little bit, I feel. Just seem to be picking up those loose balls in those second phases. So Air Force just need to calm it down, have a word with themselves, just have a little bit of composure, get back on the ball, start popping it around.
Well, it's an interesting point in the game, isn't it, where it felt like the RAF was starting to grow in confidence, perhaps looking for a second. The Navy hit them with a bit of a sucker punch. I wonder what Chris Hamilton is thinking about on the bench. There are 3 bookings in this RAF team too. Walker's found the cross, by the way. Brilliant defending by Mulligan. Apart from that one moment that ended up in that booking for Mulligan, he has looked right at home at senior inter-services level.
They just seem to be a little bit sharper than Navy now, just a little bit hungrier, first to every ball.
Into the feet of Campbell. Kerr in with a challenge, sends it forward, and Ollie Ward looking to make something happen. He's got the confidence after the goal. Can he return the favour for Holmes?
He's there again, isn't he? He's there again.
Elliot Holmes at Shrewsbury for the Royal Navy against this RAF team. It's the same old story, and the Navy have turned it right around the RAF. Well, they've capitulated on home turf.
Just one easy ball, wasn't it? Turned it in behind the fullback and then just a little cross, but you know, you leave Elliot Holmes in the box, he's going to put them away.
What a great finish as well.
Yeah, it was a great finish, you know, and it's and you know, over the last 10-15 minutes, the Navy, as I said, they were just turning the screw a little bit, but you know, the Air Force don't need to panic. They're not out of this.
There's still time. There is absolutely still time for the RAF supporting, you know, faithful to keep hold of, but
maybe a couple of changes, you know, just to freshen a couple of legs up.
Credit to the Navy though, because that's what this team can do. For long parts of this second half, they've toiled and perhaps struggled to get through this RAF back line.
That's not going to help.
But they have hit them with 2 goals in a matter of minutes, and the same 2 players linking up again. The first goal, Elliot Holmes, great ball in for Ollie Ward. The second goal, Ollie Ward, great ball in for Elliot Holmes. The Navy then lead by 2 goals to 0. And Peter Bradley says Elliot Holmes, definitely the best player to ever wear a Royal Navy shirt now. Stand fast, Sanchez Baker.
Is he on the bench?
No, he's not. He's not. Phil Bright winning it for the RAF, sending it forward, which Campbell will chase. Needs the experience of Bright and Campbell and others in this RAF team now to drag them back into the game, a game that they looked like they were comfortable in. They're not anything but now. Here's Elliot Holmes driving into the penalty area for the Navy. Elliot Holmes, great save.
It's done well, Dan. What a save that was, because that was game over.
Brilliant from Laycock, keeping the RAF in the game. They are all over the place at the back, but Elliot Holmes, well, head in hands, he felt that was the win.
Yeah, just look a bit untidy, don't we?
And as Brodie Gray was just caught in possession, gave the ball away, and from there, when you've got players like Holmes running at you, it's hard to recover.
Yeah, of course it is. It's
corner Navy then, Powell over it. The RAF smelling blood, the Navy smelling blood.
Physical. Ooh, it's gone right through. But another great ball from the Navy. You know, the delivery's been good.
The RAF just need to settle at the moment.
Yeah,
they've done a lot of good work in this game, but in a 5-minute spell, it's all gone out the window.
Just interesting that there's not that much movement on the bench, and I just feel like just could do with a freshen of something.
Here's Aaron Hyatt. Haven't seen enough of him, is what I would say from the RAF. When this RAF team plays well, Aaron Hyatt's usually at the heart of it. He's such a classy player. He's not really been involved as much in this very difficult midfield battle. That's gone forward towards Randall.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It's not been a game for the midfielders, to be fair.
There's Josh Randall into the penalty area, just asking a bit too much. Chance for Harbottle.
Yeah, the midfielders have just made it a battle, haven't they? It's been an elimination battle in there rather than a footballing battle, which, you know, sort of suits the likes of Danny Kerr. You know, he'll battle all day. Well, the keeper's gone down now.
Yeah, that will be a concern for the RAF. He's been, despite conceding 2 goals, has been excellent again tonight, Matt Laycock. Well, we could see Jack Oxenham. I'm not sure Danny Dixon's going to go in goal for the RAF. You never know. You never know with Danny Dixon, to be fair. I can see Henry Jordan might just be about to come on for the RAF.
I think that's a good move. You know, Henry will give you a little bit of energy, and you know, he's a fit lad. He's got great feet. His counter movement's good.
Not just Henry Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen, rejoice. Danny Dixon will join us. A lot of talk on YouTube about that brilliant Elliot Holmes finish, cracking finish, very impressive from Elliot Holmes. George Haynes saying the better football is from the Navy at the moment, as both sets of players get a chance to get some fluids on board, giving me just a little chance to point you in the direction of this fantastic week of live forces sport we've got for you. Not just tonight, tomorrow the women's inter-services kicks off with the RAF hosting the Navy in Lincoln, and 3 days back-to-back inter-services netball live from RAF Cosford, with the RAF and the Navy looking to stop the dominant Army team. So changes for the RAF, and Danny Dixon does come on, replacing Reece Harbottle. And it's Josh Randall coming off for the RAF, replaced by Henry Jordan.
Yeah, I think Henry will give you that little bit of fresh legs, dynamism down the right. You know, it's more or less of a like-for-like sort of player, but just be interesting where Henry goes.
Yeah, there's been a slight change for the RAF. Mikey Goddard's moved back into the centre of midfield. Henry Jordan looks to be playing perhaps in a 10 with Campbell and Spalding up front in a 2.
We've gone to a back 3.
Looks like a back 3 with Brodie Gray right wing back, Phil Bright left wing back, Danny Dixon in at centre back.
They've gone to a back 3, haven't they? 2 centre halves, and then yeah.
George Haynes asking if all that live Forces Sport is on YouTube. You are right, live on the BFBS Forces News YouTube channel, and on BFBS TV 2 for serving personnel overseas only. Ryan Wood says the Navy won't know what's hit them now that Henry Biffa Jordan is on. Well, a change of tactic for Chris Hamilton as they look to wrestle their way back into this game. Danny Dixon winning a couple of headers immediately, and Brodie Gray shoulders it out of play. Time is starting to tick down for this Navy, for this RAF team. Just under 15 minutes to go, and a situation that looks so fruitful for the Air Force has now, well, turned a bit dire. But Chris Hamilton's rolled the dice. He's changed the formation. He's changed the players. Can they find a way back in? Powell now is the Navy player, taking his time and playing at his own tempo.
It's good bravery though. You know, you've got to go for it now. You know, try and get a goal, and at least get a worst case scenario, get a draw out the game, and you're back in the tournament.
Here's Elliot Holmes, who's been so involved in this second half. Henry Jordan looking to win it. Good pressure from the RAF, good pressure from Jordan, and it's forced to throw.
Mark Drysdale there, just on his weaker left foot.
Shane Mitchell says it's good to see Danny Dixon getting on it. Could he get an assist? We'll see. Laycock then finding Liam Smith. Now as a left centre back, it's part of a three. He goes all the way back to Laycock too. And the fullbacks, the wing backs are pushing high and wide, and I would expect there is going to become a switch ball from these centre backs at some point. We've got Brodie Gray on the right. That's a ball towards Campbell, asking a little bit much, and it was cut out in midfield. Now Danny Kerr back to McCormick. Expertly done. Laycott now. That's going to go towards Phil Bright. That's more of what I was thinking the RAF might look to do. Here's Danny Kerr. Started the night bringing his two boys out onto the field.
That's a great tackle.
Could be ending the night with a Navy win, but the RAF do here. Henry Jordan caught.
Got to release it. But that was a great tackle from Danny, because to be fair, there was an overload there and they were in trouble.
The Navy got players forward again here.
Corner ball.
In a corner. Good play from the substitute for the Royal Navy, Dylan Holgate.
Interesting if they, they're still going up there. The two centre halves are going up, so the Navy aren't settling for just the 2-1, risking the big lads going up.
A third goal here with 10 minutes to go might just put an end to the RAF's inter-services hopes before they've really got started. The Navy looking to put the final blow in here in Shrewsbury. We mentioned earlier it's so important not to lose that opening game. The Navy then looking to win it. Powell. Drysdale.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Going over.
Brilliant from the Navy in the second half. They've deserved every goal they've got.
Yeah, they have.
And the experienced Mark Drysdale puts the icing on the cake.
It's a great delivery, isn't it? You know, great whip ball, and that's been the difference. You look at, you know, they've had a couple of set pieces and put great balls in. You know, the Air Force have had three corners, and you know they were really poor. But
brilliant from the Navy in the second half.
Yeah, they've been good.
I absolutely understand there will be RAF fans watching disappointed with what's happened in the second half, but what the Navy have done is up their tempo. They've upped their quality on the ball. They've upped the right runs, the decision making, and they've got the 3 goals to show for it. They're going to make another change as well. Henry Phillips comes off. He's been excellent actually dealing with the RAF threats on the left, and it's George Rogers coming on. The Navy under-23 skipper joins us for his first senior inter-services minutes. So 3-1 then to the Navy, and the RAF looking in a very bad way actually.
Yeah, just look at it. You just look at the body language now. They look downbeat. They've got to keep playing. You know, you get one back. You know, anything can happen in the second game. You know, yes, you're relying on on other results and other scores, but if you can keep it to at least a goal within it, anything can happen in the competition.
He's Goddard trying to force it, cleared brilliantly by McCormack, and Ollie Ward's chasing. Ollie Ward's not giving up, and Ollie Ward has.
I think that just epitomises the work rate of the Navy in the second half, isn't it? Just you know,
they have just been quicker and faster and well, just better in a lot of ways, in truth. And it's been a bit of an opposite story for the Royal Air Force, who were very good for 60 minutes or so here, but in the last, well, 20 minutes, it's all fallen apart for the Air Force.
Well, I can't remember the Air Force having a shot second half. I don't think Los McCormack's made a save.
That's a good ball, and Elliot Holmes.
Yeah, just you know, so I don't.
Had a couple of long shots, but nothing on target.
Nothing that's hurt them.
McCormack has to deal with it, and does. Is Elliot Holmes onside? There he is. There is a switch and play on, and the Navy really are looking for a fourth here now. Still alive with Jake Walker. Just misplaced. So the Navy sailing to a win here in Shrewsbury at the moment, and the Army will be watching on, knowing that what this result tends to do anyway is, well, what it will do is confirm that the championship will go all the way to the distance in the men's tournament, barring a brilliant RAF comeback here. That final game at Fratton Park in Portsmouth looks like it will be a title decider in 3 weeks' time. We'll have the action live for you between the Navy and the Army. Here's Henry Jordan, a sub thrown on to try and save the game for the RAF. And that's a misplaced pass by Goddard, who looks like the cat who got the cream at half time.
Yeah,
got the goal, led. He
know,
looks a frustrated figure now.
Yeah, but they, you know, they went in at half time and they've obviously regrouped. You know, 1-0 down, had a bit of a chat and come out with a bit of intent and tempo. And you know, the Air Force unfortunately just haven't been able to match them on the second half. But you know, there just hasn't been that desire to get forward, I don't think, in that risk versus reward.
Joe Spalding couldn't get a hold of it, and Sean Powell does well. Drysdale, a goal scorer, that wasn't on his bingo card tonight. Danny Dixon wanted to throw, he doesn't get it. Time starts to tick away. The RAF will make another change. Joe Spalding's evening is done. Tom O'Hanlon will join us, and he does bring a goal threat, Tom O'Hanlon. Joe Spalding just going off on the near side, allowing Tom O'Hanlon to enter the pitch. And Chris Hamilton deciding, well, it's time for the kitchen sink, so to speak.
He might as well. He needs to get something out of this game, even if it's at least a goal back.
Here's Elliot Holmes. He's shown his class.
Yeah, he has, and he's just gone into that midfield. He's drifting into that midfield, and you know, looking after the ball when he has got it, just being calm, winning the battle, winning the foul when he needs to.
Here's Liam Smith. Bit of pinball in the midfield. Aaron Hyatt heads it on, couldn't get there, came off Vincent last. Switch ball to Brodie Gray. Brodie Gray just caught under his feet a little bit. Here's Mulligan. Looking for options. We'll go to Smith. And Smith's touch wasn't great either, and the pass was rushed from it.
Yeah, just starting to feel the pressure, aren't they, the RAF lads, you know, just that stray pass, rushed passes. But appreciate what they're trying to do, because it's time is of the essence. But with 4 minutes to go, rather than have that little bit of composure, they just seem to be giving the ball away a little bit too often. Just not quite sure what, because he's changed to a back three and gone to a different shape, but not really changed the pattern of how they're playing. So
the Navy are on the verge of a very important victory here. Winning the away fixture in inter-services is kind of a bonus, isn't it, in a lot of ways? They'll be really confident when they get the Army at Fratton Park in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's it's important when you're at home, and at least you're going into your home fixture full of confidence.
Gray on to Goddard. Can the RAF stage a comeback here? It will be a comeback that goes down in inter-services history if it comes from here, but it's not impossible.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's we were very privileged to come back from we were 2-0 down after 25 minutes, weren't we, against the Army, and away at the Army, and came back. But it's
what a game that was! What a first half that was.
Yeah, it was
Goddard then, long throw. Looked tired, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
and Hyatt hasn't won the header, and the Navy, well, there's a chance here for them to really kill it off. Danny Dixon does brilliantly though, actually.
Yeah, it's done well. Brave put his head in there.
Goddard wins the flick. O'Hanlon chasing it down. McCormick grasps onto it, takes his moment, and slows things right down again. Mulligan wins the header. Vincent looking it forward. Danny Dixon underneath it, but Vincent's there again, and Elliot Holmes now. Back to Vincent. The Navy looking for a fourth. Great defending from Dixon, and that'll be a corner.
It's be interesting to send the big lads up again. I think they are doing as well. They've got that bravery. Oh no, the gaffer's told Jack McCormack to stay back, I think.
Yeah, Drysdale has gone forward though.
Yeah.
And when you're 3-1 up, you can afford to take a little bit more of a risk into the final few moments. I think the Navy might be looking at a short option there. Jake Walker over the corner. And there's not, Mike Drysdale now makes his way back.
Yeah.
And it does go short. Vincent wins the throw. The Navy looking to play this out. Game management.
We're in the last minute, and then whatever the fourth official's got for stoppage time.
I would imagine there'll be a few minutes or a few stoppages actually. Injuries and obviously the 3 goals we've seen. So there might be 3-4 minutes perhaps. Powell gets it back from the throw from Sean Powell. Happy to take his time. There's a bit of a coming together, but the Navy play on with Vincent and Holmes, and they look fully in control of this now, the men in white. Here's Vincent again. That's going to be offside against Walker.
Yeah, it's just offside.
I think he wanted it a little earlier actually. There's going to be 4 minutes of added time. 4 minutes between now and a Navy win in Shrewsbury, unless the RAF can do something about it.
Oh, he's
Goddard's done really well to keep it in.
He's done really well to keep that in. Got to win this.
Mulligan does. It'll be a throw though to the Navy. And a round of applause from Danny Kerr at the work that this Navy team have done. In that first half, it was
tight, wasn't it?
It was tight.
It was a tight game, but the Air Force, they were a little bit calculated, and and then unfortunately the sort of wheels fell off a little bit second half. But that's not being disrespectful to the Army, because I think we have to give credit to the Navy. They came out, they needed at least to get back in the game, and they kicked on. They got a little bit of momentum, and then they went and got the second and third goal.
That's exactly what I was going to say. At half time it looked, they were a goal down, but it was tight, it was difficult. They added what was needed to win an inter-services match in the second half. You look at Elliot Holmes, you look at Dan Kerr, you look at Ollie Ward, the work they've put in, and the quality they've shown on the ball. And the Navy are 3-1 up for a reason. That'll be a throw. The RAF have got to try and recover this in 2 weeks' time against the Army.
Yeah, absolutely. They've still got a job to do. You know, the last thing you want to do is, you know, not saying that the tournament's over, but the last thing you want to do is go and get turned over by the Army as well. You know, with all due respect to the Army, you know, the Air Force have got to go there, and they've got nothing to lose. They've got to win the game.
Chance for the Navy into the penalty area, shot blocked, and Henry Jordan does well.
And then on the flip side of that, the Navy have got the Army, you know, in 2 weeks' time, and then they've got to make a decision how they attack the game. But obviously, that will be dictated by the result from the Air Force and the Army next week.
And a lot of the YouTube comments are agreeing with us. Navy, fair result. Games are never won after 60 minutes. I think that's the bit that might just frustrate this RAF coaching team, that for 60 minutes they were well in this game. For 30 minutes after that, it's been one-way Navy pressure and dominance, really. Yeah, but you know, for both sides, they've had debutants today. You know, they've experienced the occasion, the importance and the prestige of the inter-services. So again, a fantastic game. A credit to both services, especially with, you know, I would imagine there was a lot of stuff hot off the press over the last couple of days with what's going on around the world. So, you know, maybe a few people have been pulled from pillar to post. I know a couple of lads have had to drive and report in for work, etc., etc. So it just shows you how resilient the forces are. So talking of resilient, here's Michael Campbell. Can the RAF at least find one back into this? Campbell slows it down, looking for options, and ends up running it out of play, tired legs. If there's ever a moment of 30 seconds that sums up the second half of the RAF, it might just be that.
Just run out of ideas and steam, haven't we? But like I say, you know, we have pride in the shirt, we keep playing, you know, and the boys will keep going, but as will the Navy.
Looked like a high foot from home for a second, but Navy play on. Brodie Gray looking for Campbell, and well, it bounced around, but going to the keeper's hands, and the Navy are on the verge of another win in Shrewsbury, and a win that could be the building blocks to an inter-services championship. The Army will have something to say about that, that's for sure. Here's Ollie Ward. And Danny Dixon, it's got to go, and it has gone forward. The Navy deal with it quite comfortably. All eyes on the Army official at the moment, I think, from both camps. I think the RAF might just be ready to hear that final whistle too.
Yeah, I think the quicker the whistle comes, the better. It's they've run out of legs now, and they just need to take the defeat on the chin and regroup and get back to the training camp, and then go again next week and put things right.
Oh, Hanlon wins it. But the Navy, have they got one last counter attack in them? Phil Bright chasing back, the Navy running down the clock.
Great fitness.
And a Navy win in Shrewsbury. Arms up in the air from the Royal Navy bench. That means a hell of a lot, as it should. If you're going to win the Inter-Services Championship, you need to make a solid start. And the Royal Navy have done just that. A 3-1 win, a brilliant second half. Elliot Holmes at the heart of it.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic game, hasn't he? You know, and he just showed his class at the end there. It's controlling the game and just taking the sting out of any of the RAF attacks when he regained the ball. So, you know, certainly for me, I think he's certainly the man of the match for me. But you know, some great performances. I thought the RAF keeper did well. You know.
Well, I want to point out a moment you won't have seen on camera there that shows Elliot Holmes' class. This young keeper, Matt Laycock, will be disappointed to have conceded 3 goals, but actually played really well again. First inter-services game, Elliot Holmes, full-time whistle goes. Does he celebrate with his teammates? He goes straight over to the RAF goalkeeper to congratulate him on his performance, and that's the type of camaraderie we like to see in inter-services football.
Yep.
But it's the Navy then who are going to be celebrating, and they've done their job. That's for certain. They've absolutely done their job. Chris James will be pleased with the second half, maybe not so pleased with the first half. The Army will look to that first half and see some perhaps weaknesses they can look to exploit. We are in for a brilliant title decider in 3 weeks, but don't get there yet, because in 2 weeks' time this RAF team have got to bounce back. And knowing Chris Hamilton, knowing the coaching staff in there, Lewis Brownhill and Carl Milgate, they will not accept what's happened tonight to happen again.
Absolutely not. And the lads don't go out to lose any game. And I spoke to some of the staff just before the game as I was driving up, and they were full of confidence going into this game, and rightly so, because they've had a great training camp. They've had a good year. They've had a turnover of players, but that's inter-service football. And it's harsh reality, unfortunately.
Well, the players will receive a trophy for winning this game, the Royal Navy, but the trophy they really want will be coming might be coming in 3 weeks' time. I'm not going to hedge my bets yet, and I'm sure the Navy won't either. I know the Army will be very, very keen to keep hold of the trophy. They were champions for a reason last year. We'll be back with more live football tomorrow night. We've got a lot coming this week with live netball. The RAF then receive... Sorry, the officials are going to receive their medals first. We'll just stay on for this mini trophy lift as the Army officials, as a co-commentator, and he takes the headphones with him. Andy Cooch says, "Thank you very much, Andy, for joining us," but he's got to go. The Army officials receive their medals. Andy is back. I thought he disappeared. It's okay. Here's the trophy then for the Royal Navy. One trophy down. Effectively, they want 3 this year. 1 for beating the Navy, 1 for beating the RAF, 1 for beating the Army, and the overall inter-services trophy. 1 down for the Royal Navy. Danny Kerr gets his hands on it.
Yeah, half a job done for Chris and his team. So, and Danny's just wrecked the trophy. But
He might have wrecked his head as well. It landed on his head.
Yeah, that's half a job done. So good luck to the Navy next week in turning over the Army and beating the Army. But also good luck to the Army as well, and hopefully it's a competitive game.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight live in Shrewsbury. As I say, more live football tomorrow. The women's tournament kicks off with what we hope will be an exciting game between the RAF and the Navy. More live netball coming later in this week. Thank you very much, and we'll be back tomorrow.
It's right across the box, it's a big chance.
Great play by the Navy there, fantastic football.
And it's a goal! The Army have an all-important second goal.
Full time in this match, thrilling stuff, especially in the second half.
One game plan, and it's paid off.